Alright, so let's talk about some lighting effects. For the Nintendo 64 games, I feel like not enough credit is given to Zelda's lighting effects and how it's used to convey emotions. Also, I'd like to start this video off by informing you that I will be branching off into other video game series. Ocarina of Time will always be my favorite of all time, and I appreciate the community for helping me out so much. These last couple of weeks have been very busy. It took days for me to finally decide where I wanted to take this channel. So consider this my goodbye tribute video to the Ocarina of Time community as I move on to covering other franchises. So let's take a look at Majora's Mask. It's a very creepy game for a kid's game, that is. I'd probably blame this game for a lot of my childhood trauma, and today I'd like to bring up the gibdos. These mummy/zombie things, I don't really know, they just pace around this house waiting for the father to come out and join him. If you don't know the story behind this part of the game, I'm not going to ruin it for you. But eventually, you defeat a Pogost by playing the Song of Storms. Once this happens, the gibdos begin to descend back into the ground where they came from. And then, this lighting displays, this hellish, fever-dreamish lighting with green fog begins to shine on them as they burrow back into the ground. This specific lighting has always stuck around in the back of my mind. When I was a kid, I began to have dreams where I'd be playing Ocarina of Time and then the lighting would appear, and so would the gibdos. It was enough to frighten me back then because I was so scared of these things. They just move so slowly and agile-like. Sometimes it seems like they just attack you when they feel like it. I have another story about my older brother and me first encountering these things, but I'm gonna save that for another time. For the past couple of weeks, I've been working on replicating the same lighting in Ocarina of Time. Now usually, I like to explain how I create these different code workarounds and how the code works to create these effects. But this was so tedious to work on. Project 64 kept crashing on me, and I kept losing my progress. So I ended up booting up a virtual machine and doing my research through that, which was very slow. But eventually I had what I needed to begin working on it. Already, I came across my first discrepancy. The gibdos' bodies are programmed to react to that lighting, but the models in Ocarina of Time just stay lit up in green. Also, the town center people are not affected by this lighting whatsoever. This lighting doesn't work well during the day, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a simple GameShark code that keeps the time of day at nighttime. So the first thing I noticed was the ghost room at the town doesn't react much, but as an adult, if you enter the ghost room at the beginning of the town, the entire room is filled with green. As Kid Link, the smoke on the mountain turns green, which must mean that it's its own object, considering that all the other objects that follow Link around in this town tend to turn green, such as the dogs. But when you're adult Link, the smoke isn't affected by the lighting. Kokiri Forest looks a lot more creepy with this lighting, and it doesn't help that all the forest kids are smiling at the camera in the beginning of the game. Another thing is, this lighting made Lake Hylia look very creepy, but by far the creepiest I saw was the graveyard. So the graveyard to me didn't feel that creepy. It felt like a little ominous because there wasn't that many people in it. But when you have this lighting, it's the creepiest looking area in the game. I wanted to try out the royal family's tomb, just like in the dream, and I was heavily disappointed with the results. It was just a lot more green fog, which, I mean, it made it a little bit neater, but it was still bland feeling. I expected the area to look super demonic, just like in the dream, but it was not. So, let's start wrapping this video up at the final part, which is going to be Ganon's castle. Now this completely crushed my expectations I had for this portion of the game. As soon as I entered the outside of the castle, the lighting for some reason made it look a lot bigger to me. The green showed off the depth between layers of the smoke on top of the castle. It also created a big fog over the pit below you, making it seem more vast. The battle with Ganon was also interesting. There seems to be a specific golden lighting used for this battle that doesn't react to Majora's lighting. So before the battle even starts, we get to see this gold fog crowd around us. During the first battle, the bottom area is green, but as you ascend, it turns gold again. The final battle with Ganon made this battle stand out so nicely. The battle was already sinister looking to begin with. It's dark lighting. It seems to create a dramatic feeling to the final part of the game. It's very intense and dramatic. Now this lighting felt like it amplified that. With the dark red landscape and the fire that surrounded it, it all played well into the dreams I used to have about this specific lighting. It felt so intense but nostalgic to see this come to life. Of course, I couldn't program gibdos everywhere in the game, just like in the dream, but I guess the skeletons could make up for that. Since it was nighttime all the time, they'd appear anytime I was in Hyrule Field, so I guess I still got that sense of urgency to get out of the area I was at. But in the Ganon fight, since you're surrounded by that gate of fire, this made the feeling more frightening. I even tried out just blue lighting, and it still made the battle a little more fun. But everything after the final fight didn't seem to be affected much by the lighting. So, there we have it. This was always such a personal aspiration that I wanted to see happen, and after years of hacking old video games, I finally made it come true. One day, I would like to work on a fan project where you could play this game just how it was in those dreams, with gibdos stalking you wherever you go, and the whole environment just turning really fever dreamish. It always got to me how easily a dream about Ocarina of Time could turn into something such an intense nightmare with just these blocky mummies and clever lighting. I'm pretty sure the developers never thought that something so simple as changing the lighting would keep a kid up at night. Now as an adult, it still seems so unreal to me that this experience turned out this way. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. And also, I want you to tell me something in the Zelda series that scares you to this extent. I'm genuinely interested because sometimes it's the simplest things that can be so effective. I've been very busy lately and I've had a lot going on, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. As always, have a great day.